Tina here. Thank you so much for joining me for day 4 of my Countdown to Christmas series. Today I'm going to be using a couple items from Elizabeth Craft Designs. I love the little sleigh in here. I love the little swirly on it. I think it'd create a beautiful vintage sleigh. So we're going to use that die set. And then for my sentiment, we're going to use the classic Christmas Sentiments stamp set by Elizabeth Craft Designs also. So we're going to dive in. We're going to do some die cutting, and I'm using an older paper pad. I believe I used this last year, and it's called Carousel Christmas by BoBunny. And I love the soft pink and pastel colors in this pattern paper, and I thought we'd make a beautiful vintage sleigh. So I'm going to die cut out my sleigh with this pretty pattern paper here. And I'm also going to die cut out another one using the gold cardstock. I'm going to grab a couple more pattern papers. This is a real pale green with a damask print on it. I'm going to cut out 2 Christmas trees with that. And then for my bows, I'm going to use that same gold cardstock. We'll fit all those bows on there when I die cut out my sleigh. For the presents, we're going to use this poinsettia pattern paper. And I thought we need some stripes, so we're going to grab our stripe paper. We'll take that middle-sized present. And then for our third present, it's actually pattern paper not from the BoBunny Christmas Carousel collection. This was in my scrap stash, and so I thought we needed a little lighter pink for our presents, and I just die cut out that last small present. Once everything's die cut, I like the fact that the die is also embossed too. I think it creates beautiful effects. On the back side, you can see where the embossing is. You can't see it on the front because the pattern's a little bit too busy. Well, I'll take my scissors and cut off the base of my sleigh. As I did this, I saw that little twirly, and I thought that would make a fantastic candy cane. So I'm going to trim off that extra portion on there, and I thought we'd add a little fancy candy cane to our sleigh as well. I think the pink against the gold really looks elegant, and I love the outcome. I am going to trim down my sleigh on the bottom a little bit more, and there's an embossed line on that red pattern paper. I'm going to flip it over and just trim at that embossed line so it will line up on the bottom of my sleigh. Okay, to give it a vintage look, I'm going to grab some vintage photo distress ink. This is not oxide, it's just regular distress ink. Using my blending tool, my old blending tool. I use the square one because it's one of the first ones I ever bought actually, and I always used it for my vintage photo. So I broke that out, and I'm going over the edges of my present, the base of the sleigh, and then we're going to even go over the candy cane and also the Christmas trees. Once everything's shaded and added that vintage look, I'm going to grab my foam squares and add a few behind my pattern paper here. We're going to add a little bit of dimension to our sleigh this way. Now when I add this sleigh to my gold sleigh, I'm going to offset it just a little bit. When I do this, you can see that gold peeking out of the top of my sleigh, and I think that really adds that extra special touch. I'm going to grab my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and go ahead and add the bows to my presents. And the bows are embossed too, so there's a little added detail in there. And we'll do our last present here. Lovely. Now, I'm going to show you a close-up of what the presents look like. I think it looks very pretty and dainty and vintagey. Now, the cardstock that I'm using is a very vanilla cardstock from Stampin' Up. I'm going to die cut out a panel that's going to leave me a little bit of a white border on my card base. So it's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now I'm going to kind of play around with my placement. I'm going to tuck everything on the inside of my sleigh. I'm going to do this first. This way I can kind of judge where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Just kind of overlapping everything. We'll add our very small one here. And as I added my last present, I thought that was a pretty busy sleigh. And I didn't think there was any room left over for my fancy little recycled candy cane. So we could probably just use that for another card. We'll set that aside. Okay, for my sentiment, again, we're going to use a classic Christmas sentiment stamp set. And I think I'm going to be using, I was going to use the Peace, Love, and Joy. And then I thought we'll fancy it up using the Christmas greetings. We're going to heat emboss with gold embossing powder. So I'm going over my panel with my anti-static powder tool. We're going to ink up our sentiment with some Versamark ink. Stamp that in the top right corner. And then there's 2 snowflakes in the stamp set, so I thought we'll add a couple little snowflakes in the background too. This is the largest one. We'll grab the smaller one and add a few of those as well. Lovely. We'll grab some scratch paper and then go over our stamped images with some gold embossing powder. Flip that over and just cover our snowflakes up. I'll go ahead and take my heat gun and melt everything so it's nice and shiny. Okay, we are going to next add a piece of foam, fun foam behind this panel. Oh, before we do that, I wanted to add a little color to my snowflakes. So I did grab some Distress Oxide ink. This is Tattered Rose. I'm going to spray a little bit of water on it to dilute it just a bit. And then I'm going to go over my snowflakes. We're going to make some vintage pink snowflakes for our background. Once I have all the snowflakes filled in, I'm going to, since I had my ink there, I thought we'll do a little splattering. Create some little snowfall in the background. Just using my paintbrush, I'm tapping it, adding some small droplets on my panel here. And it dried pretty quick. Now here's where I went in with some fun foam. I'm just going to tape that to the back of my panel. I'll remove the release paper, and then we'll place this on an A2 size card base. It's going to be a side folding today, and I'm using the same very vanilla cardstock here. I open it to make sure it's open on the right side, because there's been a few times where I've opened my card and it's actually upside down because I put it on the wrong side. So I always double check now. Okay, I'm going to use my glue and go ahead and attach my sleigh, and you'll see it fits beautifully on a landscape style card. We'll place that towards the bottom. And I did end up covering up quite a bit of the snowflakes, but I didn't mind. I think it just added to the background. I'm going to use my tape runner and adhere my Christmas trees. Well, at least the first one. I actually have to trim it down a little bit because the foam squares behind it wouldn't let me tuck it in. So I'm kind of going to fake tuck it in. We'll add our little presents and then our very last tree. Lovely. I think that just turned out so gorgeous. Okay, for bells and whistles and finishing touches, I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter, and I'm going to use some Nuvo glitter drops. And these are Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is super pretty. It is, I would say, a cross between a gold glitter and a silver glitter, but it's a little bit more pale. So I thought it'd go perfect on my Christmas tree. I'm going to add a few little drops of glitter. And then I thought we'll add some sparkle to our snowflakes too. So I'm going to go over all of my snowflakes. And then that finishes off my card for today, guys. My vintage sleigh, I think it turned out gorgeous. My lighting's a little bit darker, but you'll see in the close-up pictures how pretty it looks. But I thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for day 5. And I wish you a fantastic day, guys. Anything that I used today, I'll be leaving links down below for you guys in case you're interested. But we will see you again real soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.